This is not just a story, it's feeling many hearts are still carrying in silence. A story about love, promises, and the kind of waiting that never ends.
She waited by the door every single night, her tiny eyes fixed on the hallway, believing her mother would walk in any moment. She never missed a night, never stopped believing, because to her, a promise meant forever. But some promises are never broken, not because they were kept, but because life never gave them the chance to be fulfilled.
In a quiet corner of New York City, inside a small, slightly worn-out apartment, lived a woman named Anna Williams and her 6-year-old daughter, Sophie. The walls of their home were simple, paint slightly faded, furniture old but clean. But if you stepped inside, you could feel something rare: warmth, love, and a bond that didn't need words. Life had never been easy for Anna. She worked long shifts as a nurse, sometimes 12 hours, sometimes more. Her feet ached, her body begged for rest. But the moment she opened that apartment door and saw Sophie running toward her with open arms, everything else disappeared. "Mommy!" Sophie would shout, jumping into her embrace like she had been waiting forever. And in that moment, Anna wasn't tired anymore. She wasn't broken anymore. She was just a mother. Every morning began the same way. Before the sun even rose, Anna would quietly get out of bed, careful not to wake Sophie. She would prepare a simple breakfast, pack a small lunchbox with extra care, sometimes adding a tiny note inside that said, "I love you, my angel." Then she would gently wake her daughter. "Sophie, sweetheart, it's time to wake up." Sophie would rub her sleepy eyes and reach for her mother's hand first thing, like she needed to make sure she was still there. Anna would sit behind her, slowly brushing her soft hair, carefully braiding it strand by strand. Not because it had to be perfect, but because these little moments were everything to her. Before school, she would kneel down, hold Sophie's face in her hands, and kiss her forehead softly. "Be a good girl today, okay?" Sophie would nod, then hug her tightly, as if letting go was the hardest part of her day. But nights were their favorite. After long, exhausting shifts, Anna would come home, barely able to stand, yet she would still cook, still smile, still listen. They would sit together, sometimes eating simple food, sometimes laughing over small, silly things. And when the world finally grew quiet, when the lights were dim and Sophie was tucked safely into bed, that's when the most important moment came. Sophie would hold her mother's hand tightly, her small fingers wrapped around Anna's like she never wanted to let go. Her voice would be soft, almost afraid. "Mom, will you always stay with me?" It wasn't just a question. It was fear. Fear of losing the only person she had. Fear of being alone in a world she didn't understand. Anna paused for a second, because deep down, she knew life didn't come with guarantees. But looking into her innocent eyes, she could never say anything else. So she smiled, even through her exhaustion, even through the weight of her unspoken worries, and she whispered, "Forever, my angel." To Anna, it was just a way to comfort her child. But to Sophie, those words weren't just reassurance. They weren't just love. They were a promise. A promise she believed with her whole heart. A promise she built her.
That evening, the air felt colder than usual. A quiet stillness had settled over the city, the kind that feels normal to everyone else, but heavy to the one whose life is about to change forever. Inside their small apartment, Anna and Sophie were sitting together on the couch. Sophie was laughing softly, playing with her tiny stuffed bunny, making up little stories, while Anna watched her silently. There was a strange look in her eyes that night, like she was trying to memorize every little detail. Sophie's smile, her voice, the way her hair fell across her face, as if somewhere deep inside she felt something coming. Then suddenly, the phone rang, a sharp, unexpected sound that broke the calm. Anna picked it up. Her expression changed instantly. It was the hospital. An emergency case, critical, urgent. They needed her now. Anna closed her eyes for a brief second, taking a slow breath before whispering softly, "I'm on my way." Everything after that happened so fast. She stood up quickly, grabbing her coat, her keys, her bag. Her hands were moving in a hurry, but her heart felt heavy, unexplainably heavy. Sophie stood near the door, holding her little bunny tightly against her chest. She watched her mother rush around, confused, quiet, a little scared, because something didn't feel right. "Mom?" she said softly. Anna turned. For a moment, everything stopped. She walked toward Sophie, kneeling in front of her, placing her hands gently on her daughter's shoulders. Sophie looked into her eyes, searching for comfort, for reassurance, for something familiar. And then she asked, in a small, trembling voice, "Mom, will you come back soon?" Anna froze, just for a second, because sometimes life gives you a moment where you wish you could see the future, where you wish you didn't have to answer. But she couldn't let her daughter feel fear. So she forced a soft smile, even though her chest felt tight, even though something inside her didn't feel right. She brushed Sophie's hair back gently, kissed her forehead, and whispered, "I promise I'll be back before you wake up." Sophie stared at her for a moment. Then, slowly, she nodded, because she trusted her, because her mother had never broken a promise before, because to Sophie, her mother's words were stronger than anything in the world. Anna stood up, took one last look at her daughter, a look that lingered just a little longer than usual, as if her soul was trying to hold on even when time was pulling her away. Then she turned, opened the door, and walked out. The door closed, and just like that, everything changed. Sophie stood there, still holding her bunny, staring at the door in silence, waiting, believing, trusting. She didn't know that this wasn't just another night, that this wasn't just another goodbye, that the promise she held on to so tightly would become the reason her heart would break forever. Because that night was the last time she ever saw her mother alive.
On our way to the hospital, the roads were almost empty. Streetlights flickered softly, casting long, lonely shadows across the dark pavement. Anna drove carefully, her hands steady on the wheel, but her mind was still back home, with Sophie. She could still hear her little voice, "Mom, will you come back soon?" And that word echoed inside her chest, promise. For a brief moment, Anna glanced at the empty seat beside her, as if imagining Sophie sitting there, smiling, safe, waiting for her. A faint, tired smile touched her lips. She whispered under her breath, "I'll be back, I promised." And then, everything shattered. A pair of blinding headlights, rushing too fast, too reckless, straight toward her. No time to react, no time to escape, just a single, terrifying second. Blam! The impact was instant. Metal crushed against metal. Glass exploded into the air like shattered stars. The sound, loud, violent, final. Then, silence. A cold, heavy, endless silence. The car stood still, twisted, broken,
lifeless. And inside, the woman who spent her entire life saving others, holding hands of strangers in their darkest moments, fighting for lives that weren't even her own, couldn't be saved herself. Miles away, in that small apartment, Sophie waited. She sat near the door, her tiny body curled up on the floor, her little bunny held tightly against her chest. The hallway light outside flickered softly, and every small sound made her look up with hope. Footsteps, voices, a door closing somewhere far away. Each time, her eyes lit up for a second. "Mom?" But no one came. Minutes turned into hours. The night grew deeper, colder, quieter. Her eyes grew heavy, but she refused to sleep because her mother said, "I'll be back before you wake." So how could she sleep when her mom might come any second? She leaned her head against the door, listening closely, trying to catch even the faintest sound of footsteps. Her voice became softer, weaker. "Mom, I'm still awake." But the door never opened. Eventually, sleep took over her small, tired body. Right there, on the cold floor, still waiting, still believing. Morning arrived slowly. Soft sunlight slipped through the window, filling the room with a quiet warmth. Birds chirped outside. The world moved on, like nothing had happened. Sophie opened her eyes. For a moment, she smiled, because she remembered the promise. Mom said she'd be back before I wake. She quickly looked toward the door, hope shining brightly in her eyes, waiting to see her mother standing there, smiling, arms open. But the door was still closed. The room was still empty, and the silence felt louder than ever before. That was the first moment when something inside her tiny heart quietly began to break.
The adults stood in silence, their eyes filled with pity, their hearts heavy with truth. But when they looked at Sophie, so small, so innocent, still waiting by the door with hope in her eyes, they couldn't say it. They didn't have the courage to break a child's world in a single sentence. So instead, they chose something easier, a lie. "Your mom is still at work. She'll come later." Sophie didn't question it. Why would she? Her mother had always come back before, and she trusted her more than anything. But that one word, later, it sounded simple. It sounded harmless. But for Sophie, it became something else entirely. It became a place where time stood still, where hope refused to die, and where pain quietly began to grow. That night, Sophie sat by the door again, her little bunny pressed tightly against her chest, her small fingers clutching it like it was the only thing keeping her safe. She kept her eyes fixed on the hallway, waiting for that familiar sound. Footsteps, keys, the door opening, her mom's voice saying, "I'm home." But the hallway stayed empty. The silence stayed unbroken. Her eyes grew heavy, but she forced them open because she remembered the promise. She whispered softly, almost like a prayer. "Mom promised. She never breaks promises." Every night became the same, waiting, listening, hoping. She stopped playing as much, stopped laughing the way she used to. Even her smile became something fragile, something that appeared for a moment and then quietly disappeared. Days turned into weeks, weeks into something that felt endless. At first, it was hope, pure, strong, unshaken. She would sit by the door with excitement in her eyes, believing today would be the day. Then, slowly, hope turned into confusion. Her small mind started asking questions it couldn't understand. Why is Mom working so long? Did I do something wrong? Did she forget me? But no one gave her real answers, just soft voices, gentle smiles, and the same word repeated again and again. Later. And then, confusion turned into pain. Not loud pain, not the kind that screams or cries, but the quiet kind. The kind that sits in your chest, that makes your eyes search for someone who isn't there, that slowly teaches your heart what loss feels like without ever explaining it. Sometimes, late at night, Sophie would curl up near the door, hugging her bunny tightly, and whisper into the silence, "Mom, I'm still waiting. Please come back. I'm being good." But the silence never answered. The door never opened, and the lie, the one meant to protect her, became the very thing that slowly broke her from the inside. One quiet afternoon, Sophie sat on the worn-out couch of the social worker's office. Her small body seemed even smaller, curled up, shoulders hunched, clutching her little bunny like it was a lifeline. The room was filled with soft light, but somehow it didn't reach her heart. Her eyes were wide, glistening with unspoken questions and a pain far too heavy for a child to bear. The social worker knelt down to her level, voice soft, gentle, careful not to startle her. "Sophie, can you tell me, what do you wish for the most?" Sophie's hands trembled as she wrapped her fingers around her bunny. Her lips quivered. Her voice, barely more than a whisper, escaped in tiny fragments. I just want my mom." A pause. A shiver ran through her small frame. She added, almost pleading, "I'll be good. I won't complain. I won't cry. I promise." The words hung in the air, so heavy, so fragile, that even the social worker's eyes filled with tears. Sophie's head sank lower. Her tiny shoulders shook as she whispered the question that had been haunting her for weeks, months, maybe years. Why didn't she come back? Did I do something wrong? Her voice cracked, and a single tear slid down her cheek. Her chest heaved with silent sobs, but she didn't cry out loud. She had learned that this pain was private, and no one could fix it. No one in the room had an answer, because the truth, the unbearable, crushing truth, was beyond words. Sometimes the cruelest pain in life doesn't have a reason. Sometimes life takes away the people we love most without explanation, without warning, without mercy. Sophie clutched her bunny tighter. Her small body trembled, her tiny heart struggling to make sense of a world that had already taken so much from her. And in that moment, no one could comfort her. No words could reach her, because some pain is just too deep for anyone else to understand. Years passed. The little girl who once sat by the door, holding on to hope with innocent eyes, slowly grew up. Sophie was older now, taller, quieter, stronger, at least on the outside. But some things never changed. Life moved forward, as it always does. New places, new people, new routines. But deep inside her heart, time had stopped on that one night. The night her mother said, "I'll be back." Sophie learned how to smile again, how to speak, how to exist like everyone else. But her smile was never the same. It didn't reach her eyes anymore, because a part of her was still sitting on that cold floor near the door, waiting. Every year, on her birthday, she followed the same quiet ritual.
No matter where she was, no matter how busy life became, she would bake a small cake. Simple, just like the ones her mom used to make. She would place 2 plates on the table, one for herself and one for someone who never came back. Then she would light the candles, pause for a moment, and gently add 1 extra candle for her mother. The room would be silent, no laughter, no celebration, just memories echoing in the empty space around her. She would sit there, staring at the empty chair across the table, as if somehow, if she waited long enough, the door would open and her mother would finally walk in, smiling just like before. Her eyes would slowly fill with tears, but she wouldn't let them fall, because she remembered what she once said, "I won't cry, I promise." And then, in a voice barely stronger than a whisper, she would say the same words every single year. "Mom, I'm still waiting." Not with the same childish hope anymore, but with something deeper, something quieter, a pain that had learned to live inside her without ever leaving. Because some people don't stop waiting, even when they know no one is coming back.
Be careful with promises, because for someone, somewhere, they're not just words. They're a reason to keep waiting forever.
If this story touched your heart, take a moment and don't ignore it. Because somewhere in this world, someone is still waiting for a promise that was never fulfilled. Like this video to support stories that deserve to be felt. Share it with someone you love before it's too late. And in the comments, write "Still waiting, heartbroken," so no one feels alone in their pain.